once again, people, and welcome to yet another Q2 level! Yes, indeed, we are pushing through this, getting through every single level in Q2. It's quite the ambitious project. But definitely not any more ambitious than the fact of matter that we're planning on doing so many of this different stuff. And yeah, I've been known in the past and whatnot to have, like, crushed and burned with and whatnot with, like, stronghold with different little random things like that, but this is stuff that I'm really passionate about. And I think that's really what the big problem in the past was. I was missing passion. I was missing what exactly I really like doing, which is, Quake, Unreal, and Thief. And yes, Unreal and Thief are kind of going slower because I'm focusing on the Quake side of things, but the other two I'm remembering. They're in my thoughts, and therefore they'll eventually be coming back. I'm definitely happy about all of this stuff, and the fact that I get to share it all with you! I get to scream at you while I do it! Wait, that's not a good thing at all. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Okay, what should we be talking about today? How about the next level that we should be doing? That would be a good place to start. A good place to end would be with the final Q2 level, but that's still quite a ways away. So for the time being, let us instead look at this new random level, which, hey, I'm getting error messages. I was trying to look at the name, and it's Walking Dead. Not the TV show on AMC. It's just Walking Dead. And yeah, it's not the Telltale game series either. Choose your own story or whatnot. It has a lot more interaction than that. And therefore, Q2 is a lot better than any Telltale game out there. But that's beside the point. Actually get to it. Alright, load it up. Let's see here. I'm so glad I actually fixed the issue. Like, I was saying it was going to be pretty tolerable, but it ended up being pretty useful to actually fix this problem so I could scroll through the list after that one time where it was pretty laggy. And it's a freaking blue level! Well, let's do it anyway. Blueness has never stopped us before, and it's not going to stop us here. In another random Q2 level. That looks like every other Q2 level out there. And don't mind my phone, I have just got some spam from a shampoo company. Yes, I have no idea why. Looks like Grunts up there. And the double-barreled shotgun, which would be pretty convenient. If you notice, a lot of Q2 levels, what they love to do is just throw, like, the double-barreled shotgun in the first room. That seems to be, like, a very common trait, especially in, like, the dark corner of the room. So, yeah, it almost gets very, very predictable. Oh my god, it's another radioactive container! Oh my god, this is a revolution! I thought last time around was the only time, but yeah. We have another level with a radioactive container. I thought there was 2 levels with that. Maybe I miscounted. I believe I documented it on Quake. I had to have. But yeah, there's a radioactive container right in front of us. Listen, I thought there was only 2 instances of it, and I didn't think this was the second instance. So this one was a completely forgotten case of radioactive container. Yeah, there was more radioactive containers in Q2 than I thought. Sweet! I love it when there's radioactive containers everywhere. Hi. Everybody is trying to kill me. Well, that's a great way to start. Not dying. That's always a brilliant way to start. Yeah, I could use some health shells and life. All that stuff would be eventually helpful to not dying. Okay, a super nail gun could help. But those are zombies. I don't like zombies because I kinda need explosives. Where is the explosive weaponry? Well, there's a quad damage, which will allow me to kill zombies. We might need that if there's no explosive weaponry here. We'll see. Hopefully there is. Hopefully they aren't going to force me into that. Let's get this armor, because armor's pretty valuable here. Armor's a valuable commodity in Q2, especially when most levels are pretty cruel just to throw you away with a bunch of enemies. See, it's a lot of hit span opponents all around the place. We just care about taking out all the grunts right now. Okay, that's most of the enemies, besides the random zombies. Just want to evade them for the time being. Can't exactly shoot them yet, so... yeah. You just have to awkwardly stand around and... there's absolutely nothing in this room. This is a totally useless, empty room. Well, thanks a lot. Yeah, that was totally worth it. So, yeah, this is your classic example whereby we actually have no way to kill the zombies besides with the quad damage. You see, quad damages can kill zombies as well as anything else. So this is why in these type of levels you always conserve one quad damage at the very least for use on zombies. I try and conserve as many as I can, just in case zombies turn up to not have any explosives to deal with them. In this case, we have no explosives, so grab this to kill all 3 zombies. Ta-da! And that's how you do that. So, yeah. Thank goodness we had a quad damage, that this would be yet another level whereby we could not kill all the enemies. So far, that's only happened in one level. That level with, the Shambler at the end or whatnot. I think it was... Watchtower, I want to say? I probably am mixing up my levels because every level is practically identical to each other, beyond in terms of geometry, and the level design absolutely in no way resembles what the finished level is. So yeah, it becomes really hard to say level names. Even with me documenting it all and whatnot and everything, it's very hard for me to pull a Q2 level name out of a hat and talk about it. I could talk more about the geometry, and I remember, general levels and how they work. I remember this level, whatnot, having, the general geometry it did, whereby it has, a middle area and has, a corridor that kind of goes linear around it. But, I remember it had a lot of grunts in it. But that's really all I kind of remembered about this. And yeah, that doesn't really surprise me because this is yet another vague level in a massive series of vague levels. So, yeah, it serves to show as a whole what Q2 is, but it definitely does not really help itself with individual identity. And so, yeah, I think that's a big reason whereby people don't really get that behind Q2 and even, looking at these videos and whatnot, or, having any interest with them at all, because you've seen one, you've seen most of them, pretty much. And I don't really blame you for that. That's one reason why it's kind of disinterested in me half the time. It's interesting the fact that it's a new level, in a way, but why it's not really, because we've seen it on multiplayer and it's just kind of being rehashed. But, and at the same time, it's just more levels that pretty much just use one texture and are pretty much thrown together in 2 seconds. So, it's just kind of there. I still am showing it off and whatnot, showcasing what exactly was around and what you could exactly get in 1996. And Q2 was one of the packs, so we definitely have to cover it. But it's definitely not exactly the most shining of examples to show 101 levels pretty much identical. But yeah, like I said, in a way, I think it almost serves to give the full effect. If I showed 5 levels, you'd think it was bad, but when I start showing that these are 101 levels and they're pretty much all just as terrible as each other, it starts to really sink in just how terrible this pack is in terms of design. Like I said, it has some good benefits. It has the fact that this was actually made in-house instead of ripped off the internet. But there is a lot of flaws with the design, specifically the fact that it's very, very linear. In fact, I pretty much had people commenting recently saying that it's pretty linear. And yeah, you'd be pretty right about that. Like I said, in the past, I have even argued that Quake itself was pretty linear in places. So I would be willing to give Q2 the benefit of the doubt with that. But it's the fact that matter, the balance of it, the fact that matter that it's very, very quick and very, very like popcorn like. Um, the fact that matter that there's really nothing of individual identity to make it interesting at all, and the full randomization. The fact of the matter that we have a lot of like random corruption issues with a lot of like the multiplayer side. Single player is pretty more stable. Mainly because it's kind of hard to mess up a single player level as long as you give a gun, an enemy, and some ammo or something. You don't even need the ammo if it's one enemy or so. So yeah, it's really hard to mess up a single player level. Um, there's ways to make it better, but it's really hard to do kind of what they messed up with in multiplayer, whereby there wasn't even spawn locations. Like, really, unless you're really making that terrible of a level to a point that you didn't even put it as spawn location, um, really it's going to be pretty hard to duplicate. Like I said, you could still do that. Um, there's still ways you can make it a little bit more frustrating, but definitely not to the extent that we saw with the multiplayer levels. And so it gets more to the level of just mediocrity. And I think that's really, at the end of the day, what the big thing of Q2 is. Because Quake is such a simplistic game and can't really have much frustrating design innate to it generally. There can be frustrating design, but frustrating design is something that comes about because of complexity and over complexity. So really, Q2 works in that regard, but at the same token, like I said, it offers a lot of flaws in regards to just lack of identity, lack of interest because of that, and the fact of the matter that everything feels the exact same and I have really nothing to talk about. So yeah, it's pretty surprising I just sat here and talked about 12 minutes about that and have actually made the last few into like little spokes, soapbox based things. But yeah, apparently I've had a little bit more to talk about with you two. Surprising, based on the fact of the matter that I'm kind of getting in the 60s range. I guess the 60s range, all of a sudden I've gotten some spark of life back into it to start talking about it. Not really sure why. Um, but yeah, I just guess I ended up having some things to say or something that I just didn't think I really um pressed upon you guys before or said in the right way before. So anyway, I've been rambling for a pretty long time. I need to get going, so thank you very much all for watching, and I shall see you all next time.